What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your daily astrology horoscope for Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Truly appreciate you all. Thanks for being here. I hope that you're having a good week so far. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day, and I hope you have a great hump day. We're going to look at how this could feel like we are getting over a hump or getting crushed by a hump, if you will, today. Hopefully, it's not feeling that way, but it's Sun Saturn. Very, very heavy today and tomorrow. We will see that exact conjunction, coming into the later hours of the day as we move into Thursday. But it's very intense as we're applying that pressure and starting a new Sun-Saturn cycle. This is the last Sun-Saturn that we're going to have with Saturn in Aquarius. And it's really, also intensified by Pluto, at 29 degrees of Capricorn, which is Saturn ruled. So Pluto's disposited by that Saturn, and we're dealing with this Sun Saturn. So there is a lot, there's a lot of work that's being illuminated. There's a lot of how do we, really strive for something in life. I mean, there's something we want. It's like we know things take time. We know it takes effort. We know it takes dedication. There's almost like maybe deeper soul purpose that's being realized. It's almost as if timelines are converging in some way, and we're having to actually look at a different way, an odd way, but a very Capricorn way to reach the top of this mountain over this next year. So very kind of intense, like when you think about this Sun Saturn annual conjunction, it kind of does set the tone for this next year in some ways, because Saturn does hold a lot of weight. And it will happen at 27 degrees, which is a net 9. And Pluto's finishing up in Cap. Of course, that's an 11, which is a master number, or a 2, which is very emotional. Could be a lot of that. There is trying to find the right kind of connection. I think, there's a lot of frequencies that we're feeling in life. We're definitely committing to a frequency that we want to be on. And I guess we want to take that serious. We want to take our connection serious. We want to take people serious, our groups. Yeah, there is a lot to take serious, I'll be honest. So it today holds some seriousness to it. And Mercury is also square the nodes. So, this is putting a lot of pressure on our minds to solve a really complicated equation. Kind of have to release, I guess, the way it's going to look too. I do think a lot of this is like coming to a higher place, coming to a more exalted place in our mind, where we're not always looking at things as if they're negative or dark, or over intensifying situations in our mind or with the people in our lives, but really like seeing that there's beauty in everything and that everything is all connected. And I would say that as we have this exact conjunction between Venus and Neptune, that is a high frequency of that, is that everything is connected. Everything comes from the same place. Good, bad, light, dark. There's a polarity to everything in our realm. And this does feel like a complicated equation because we're trying to choose this frequency, and that's almost putting us in a dualistic place in its own right. So it's a little weird today. But I think when we're able to be in our most authentic self, our most unique self, and, as long as, I would say using this moon in Sag to find happiness, to find hopefulness, to find faith, it is also squaring Venus and Neptune. So it's going through its own thing with, that. I think it's trying to break into a new expansive way of loving, heart chakra, big time activation. But it comes through our beliefs, maybe certain things that we were taught, we're having to relearn. Could come down to some deep soul stuff in those areas. However, the moon's going to sextile the sun and Saturn as they're coming together. So not terrible. And I would say that, Sagittarius, Aquarius, there is like a freedom element, free to roam, free to expand, free to be unique. We do have to remember that. I think that that's kind of the key to what we're doing today, is be free to be yourself, to explore life, to take in life, and to learn about life in your own unique way. And, commit to yourself, commit to that path that you want to take. Even if other people don't think it's cool or resonate with it, it's important for you to have your own belief and your own truth about the matter because it's your life. And that's where I would say that Saturn Sun is like, you also have to remember like this is your light that you're creating. This is your life. This is your frequency. You have to commit to yourself, and that will help you commit to the bigger groups, to the bigger mission, to the bigger aspects, but got to come to that place first. And I think the heart chakra is wide open today, and that can be sensitive in its own right. So, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Important. There's a re-understanding. It's almost like a recalibration between mind, body, and soul, because there is a heaviness with Sun Saturn that feels very body, and then this Mercury squaring the nodes, very mind, and then the soul, of course, dealing with, of course, Pluto at 29 Capricorn, but also Venus and Neptune conjunct in Pisces. There's a real initiation into our hearts that can be extremely beautiful. We have to remember that so that we can really be ourselves, because really the heart is the truest form of expression. We can often overthink aspects that take us away from that, but just be yourself. Lead with your light. Commit to your light. Even if other people don't think it's the right thing to do, I think we are at a place where, do we really want to keep doing what other people want us to do, or do we want to be ourselves, be unique, and find our own happiness? Because that's really what matters, is individual happiness for ourselves. Like, obviously be nice to people, treat people with respect, but in terms of like if your presence of just being yourself and not doing anything to offend somebody upsets their day, that really isn't your problem. And likewise, if somebody's just being themselves and they're getting to you and upsetting your day, is that really their problem? So I think there's parts of today that leave us wide open to feel an amplitude of that type of energy, and then brings us to, well, can we make decisions? Because decisions are very important right now, and being able to step up to the plate to commit to yourself. So let's see what Zinzi cards today. Oh, wow. Seven of Cups in reverse. I feel like we've been pulling Seven of Cups in reverse a lot lately. It's interesting. There's definitely a narrowing down, and I think maybe that's what we're feeling today, is like a consolidation to commit to something that is really singular. It could just be you, and that might be, really getting in tune with your own emotions, your own frequency, finding happiness in a singular point within ourselves, and not so much of every other thing or needing that from somewhere else. It's interesting how many times we've gotten that card. Wow, the World card too. I think we got that the other day also. It can feel as if we are coming to this culmination, this turnover point in some cycle in our lives, and that's great. I think it's important to accept when a journey has reached completion. There's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of enlightenment that comes from our completion of cycles. And, we get to start fresh at some point, but maybe it's really making a choice based on what you do know about where you are at. Even if you don't know exactly where the future's going, you have learned enough up to this point to make a good decision here in the now for yourself from a very respectable position in your own embodiment of yourself. The Magician reversed. I mean, we can feel as if maybe we've reached the peak of our magic. I suppose there's a potential for that, but that wouldn't be true. That never stops. But maybe if we're spread out so thin in all these other aspects of reality, we're not really honing in on where we are completing and where that next completion is going to take us, which would be more magic. I think too there's a maturity effect with Sun Saturn, and I think also getting the World card, which is Saturn's card, right? There is a level of maturity right now to not feel like you're losing your magic because there's work to do or because you have to step up to the plate. Like, we have to be that adult with Saturn sort of figure in our lives to take authority for our magic. If we're going to not do that, maybe somebody else takes authority for that frequency for us to create and to use our tools to do so. And that can leave us feeling maybe stuck in a cycle rather than feeling as if we've completed a cycle. So I'm going to pull one more. 5 of coins. Well, I sure hope nobody's feeling like they're, left out in the cold today. Maybe that's part of pulling ourselves back up. It's like kind of like like pull ourselves up by the bootstraps kind of day. It can kind of feel like a universal boot camp maybe. Like, dang, I gotta keep going. And maybe that's just part of it, Maybe we have to get broken down in certain levels so that we can, build ourselves back up. And not from someone else's rule, but from our own rule, from our own authority. And that's where the magic's at. And I think that's where we should step up today. I love you all very much. I hope you have a beautiful Wednesday, and I will see you all tomorrow. Much love. Peace.